Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. We want to talk about your employees are working remote and what now. My name is John Clark. I'm Vice President of Advanced Business Solutions in charge of business development. And I've been with ABS 14 years, growing up in the operations. Today, I got Tucker Oldham. Tucker.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tucker Oldham. I'm Director of Technical Account Management at ABS. And like John says, it's been a strange couple of weeks for us. And just wanted to talk to you a little bit today about kind of what we've been seeing at ABS and how we've been supporting our customers, and maybe give you a couple of things to think about through our experience this week, and some of the things that we're thinking about longer term as well.
We want to make this a series of content. So in the email that you received this video from, reply back to us. Let us know what conversations you'd like to have. What's on your mind? What are you thinking about as we're getting settled into the new norm? And what are you thinking about coming out? We hope that this first conversation is thought-provoking. We're going to go over a number of things, not into great detail. Definitely reach out to us if you'd like more information on anything that we talk about. Tucker, before we dive in, I think talking about what has happened so far would be a good way to start. I know from talking to our service team, we're day over day, record-breaking numbers on number of tickets that are opened. Obviously, people trying to get VPN stood up and all of that. For those of you at home, I am responsible for business development, new customers. Tucker is responsible for our customers that we support on a daily basis. So we've got two different perspectives coming at you in this video. Tucker, why don't you start with what you're hearing from our customers?
Yeah, so the team that I'm in charge of handles a little less than 200 customers, as far as they've either outsourced all or part of their IT to us. And my team is really responsible for being the virtual CIO of those businesses. So our goal is to stay proactive and thinking about road mapping technology for them, and staying ahead of the curve. Like everyone else, this week has not been proactive. It has very much been a reactive week where folks are implementing their strategies as far as distributed workforce and users at home, all that kind of good stuff. And like you said, John, we've seen a record number of support tickets opened, and particularly within the existing customers, have handled that pretty well. One of the things that's allowed us to do that is creating scalable and flexible platforms for our customers as far as their networks go beforehand, and that's allowed them to move offsite fairly well. Folks that haven't stuck to kind of the recommendations that ABS has had, it's been more difficult, and we've seen that. I think we've seen problems with, for instance, supply chain has been an issue. Customers all of a sudden calling up and asking, can we get laptops for mobile users and things like that? Most of the distribution channels are running out of laptops right now. We've even seen shortages out on Amazon and the normal consumer market. Best Buy here in town is out of laptops that run Windows Pro, for instance. So very, very strange week for sure, John.
Yeah, you touched on the proactive stuff. What we're seeing of businesses reaching out for help to our team, some of them have that scalable infrastructure. They put things in place to keep them flexible. A lot of them do not have that scalable infrastructure, and we're being creative because their business decision is based on, we need to get people home and productive to maintain business. When we bring up security, they're worried about, if I don't get this done, I don't have a business to keep secured. So we're able to help them react, but not in a secure fashion the way that we normally would. So we also see people that do have that infrastructure that has that scalability, call and get some VPN licenses and get people off site. So it is kind of interesting, the two types of customers that we've been seeing.
Well, and in the theme of the call today, it's that what do you do next after we do have everybody settled at home? I think that security piece is an important component of it, in the sense that we're starting to see, because everybody is reactive and trying to get users out the door and get them working from home, a lot of those restrictions from a security perspective has been relaxed. And we've even seen that from a compliancy standpoint. The government announced yesterday some relaxation in HIPAA regulations, where telemedicine can now be done via consumer grade video like FaceTime or Skype or some of those platforms. They're even talking about Facebook Live and things along those lines to be able to make it easier for doctors to talk to patients. And those are good things. At the same time, what are the ramifications of relaxing some of those security restrictions? And those are things that we want to make sure that folks are thinking about. Also, we've seen a ton of requests this week to, unfortunately, folks are laying folks off or furloughing employees. And so we're getting a lot of requests to remove folks' access. And I want to make sure that we're conveying when you do have to take those steps, that you are making sure that you're taking the proper security precautions and removing access to folks to your network and sensitive information and things that are of business intelligence to your company, for sure.
And so, most of the people watching us at home, I presume they're home office, since that's where we are. We've got them, or their IT has got them in a position where they're working from home. I think they're facing some new challenges with collaboration,
Sure.
phone systems, things like that. We faced our own struggles with, we've got almost 100 people in our company, and we are 90% remote now.
Yeah.
And we've leveraged Microsoft Teams, which we're using right now to quickly get this webinar out. What kind of things are you doing with your team that you can share with the people watching that has helped with management, staying in touch, trying to keep people from getting cabin fever? What are you doing over in the Tamland?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the technical account managers are doing, and we're doing it across the board for all of our departments, is we're having touch base meetings, team huddles in the morning, afternoon, making sure that collaborative conversation that normally happens at the water cooler or the coffee pot is happening via the technology that we're using. Teams is an amazing tool. I think most everybody that has deployed Office 365 has Teams as a part of that package, but a lot of folks have not utilized it. They've used the traditional Word, Excel, Outlook, that sort of thing, but haven't taken a look at some of the new tools that Microsoft has released, particularly Teams. Teams, I think I told you this earlier, John, Teams turned 3 this week. What a heck of a birthday, right?
Yeah.
They had 1,500% increase in the use of Teams this week alone. And it's because it's such a great collaboration platform. There are a lot of them out there, but this is one that we use and use for chat, use for collaborating on documents, obviously as a team setting for us to do things like the call today. But it's also not just an internal tool. I think it's important for folks to understand what a great platform it is to share documentation. Teams can be set up for business to business conversations. We have vendors that we use, partners we use, where we have team space set up for that back and forth. I think that's important to understand, and not just on the conference level. It's also for file sharing, for chat back and forth between companies, not just internal communication.
The great thing about Teams, and I talked about scalable infrastructure, being able to react quickly. I read the other day, I think it was yesterday, Microsoft is giving away Teams for a number of months to help people with this, and it is cloud-based infrastructure. You could be up and running very quickly, whether you need help from somebody like us or you go out and try to do it on your own. Teams can be available and distributed to your employees, rather quickly.
Well, and I think we're seeing that across not just Microsoft. I don't want to just focus on the Microsoft side either. We're also a partner of Cisco, and I know WebEx, their platform, they're also doing similar sorts of free trials with it. We've got great partners out there on the phone system side. There are cloud providers out there. I think you had mentioned RingCentral is doing a 90-day free trial. The business side of it is trying to help get those cloud solutions out so that we can get through all this together.
So RingCentral, I was talking to our phone vendor partner the other day, and they said RingCentral is kind of like Microsoft Teams in that they can spin it up in the cloud very quickly and react to customer problems. We ran out of call paths at ABS when this first hit. So for them to be able to react and spin things up in the cloud is pretty great. And they did tell me first 3 months is free. So that's pretty good stuff that's going on.
Well, and the beautiful thing about those cloud platforms is that deployment can be really fast. So if you as much as we talk about trying to be proactive, if you are in that reactive mode right now, understand that there are solutions that can be spun up pretty fast for you, so that you are able to at least catch up a little bit and let your folks be much more collaborative than they are right now. One of the problem with those cloud platforms, though, is bandwidth. And I've got a lot of customers that are concerned, okay, I had 2 or 3 folks working from home. Now all of a sudden I got 100 folks working from home, and we've got to get ourselves back into the home office via whatever internet link they have in place. And so the concern is, do I have enough bandwidth? And I think particularly when you look at providers such as Spectrum, not necessarily the traditional providers that are running fiber, but maybe the cable provider wherever you are, typically they can get things installed in a much faster fashion. So if you do run into bandwidth issues, you might want to be looking at, do I need to add additional backup connections, things along those lines, and can I do that in a quick way where we could get that up and working in a week or two? Those are out there, and we're working with customers on those kinds of things right now.
Even at people's homes, they're at home with their kids, they're streaming things, and we're trying to do work over the internet. They're increasing, they being Spectrum, they're increasing home residential speeds at no long-term commitment. So they're doing some pretty great things too for people that are in a pinch. Tucker, let's talk about the medium-term stuff. We had a customer call in, I think it was yesterday, and they were in a pinch. We were out there helping them, and through the course of conversation, I asked them about their backup, because they've got 8 to 10 people working from home remotely accessing these systems, and their current backup process is a manual process where somebody is taking USB drives off site, and they had no plans for anybody to go into the office. So we have 8 to 10 people manipulating data and no good DR strategy. I did warn them about that, but that's just the position that they're in. So as long as they're able to go to the office, they'll keep rotating that. But that got me thinking of all kinds of different scenarios that we should be thinking medium term. You know what I mean?
I do. Whether short term, medium term, long term, whatever way you want to put it, there is going to be, hopefully, or we think there's going to be a time here where things settle down and we end up in this new normal of working from our homes for a little while. And once you have gotten out of that reactive, let me get everybody up and working, I do want to recommend that you sit back and spend some time thinking about the issues that that could have created. I realize that you've got to get everybody up and working and do it fast, but we're running into it in a couple of different areas. I mean, you brought up a great one, John. Not only do I need to worry about my backup in that we are not all centralized and saving everything to that central server. Now we are a disparate workforce that is saving stuff on our individual machines. And how do we take care of that? Well, do you have a backup to back up those individual PCs? We've got to make sure that we have a solution in place, or at least we understand where that really important information is being saved, and do we have that backed up? There are solutions out there to back up individual PCs versus the things on the server side. But if you are saving on the server, do you have a solution like what you're talking about, where that requires somebody to manually go out and change the USB drive and take that off site? We usually are recommending to our customers a cloud type of backup where it's automated, but there's still lots of folks out there that have some kind of manual process in place. If that's not being taken care of, and we probably need to have a discussion about trying to figure out a way to do it where it is automated. Really important.
Yeah, and some of the technology out there that we use at ABS routinely, it makes that cloud backup quite easy. And easy to manage, but there's a lot of things that we,
it goes beyond that but it goes beyond that backup scenario. I mean, we're seeing, our service guys got inundated this week with calls of, let me have my home or my end users set up their home PCs and get VPN connection back into my network. And man, now all of a sudden I am bringing those PCs that have been out in the wild forever back to the mothership, and they're bringing in all that stuff that potentially is a security risk out there. We saw this morning the Indiana Attorney General released a report and warning about cybercrime that potentially may affect folks, not just in the Hoosier state, but everywhere. And I am concerned about the security posture of it. So many folks from a traditional security sense put in a real nice firewall to protect that home office. Well, how do we protect all those folks that are now, again, out there in the wild? And there are solutions out there. One of the great ones that we talk about is Cisco's Umbrella product that is specifically designed not just to protect your end users when they're in the office, but also when they're out in a coffee shop or at home. And obviously today, those types of solutions are even more important than ever, and a real concern.
That Umbrella is cloud-based as well, right?
It is cloud-based. So whether you're on network or off, it is always protecting those end users' machines. And it does an incredibly effective job of not only protecting those machines if they have from getting any kind of malware on them, but even if they have gotten malware and they try to call home for their instructions, Umbrella typically blocks that. So a real good solution that not only helps protect your end users, but because it is cloud-based, it falls into that category of being very easily deployed too, John. So as we get out of that reactive mode, it's something that folks ought to be thinking about of how do I secure those end users that are at home.
I think we've given a lot of information today and a lot for people to think about. I hope this was thought-provoking for everybody watching Tucker and I. So Tucker, let's leave them with some last thoughts. What are you thinking as we're coming out of this thing? Where should our heads be? Should our heads be there yet?
You know, I know everybody is in that reactive mode, but I've already got my team thinking about what happens when we come out of this. And just because we have had this disruption and it lasts 1, 2, 3 months, when we do come out of it, those same IT problems are still going to exist that we left behind. So, and I've added new problems to that. Can I solve those issues that I was having because I'm in a different financial state? Those are things that if we're proactive about it and start to think about how we adjust your roadmap and what issues are of highest importance, those are things that if we get ahead of that, you won't be 2 months, 3 months behind once you're in the office. So I think that's important to be thinking about, John.
Yeah. Well, again, I hope we were thought-provoking for you all today. Let us know what other things are on your mind. I'm sure there's much more than IT, but security and your company data has to be at the top of the list. Let us know what you're worried about. I said earlier in the video, Tucker and I are going to be putting together content, whether it's more videos, email campaigns, LinkedIn stuff. Shoot us an email. Let us know what you're thinking. If you want a personal conversation with one of us, we'd be happy to do that. Talk to you in more intimate detail about what's going on with you and your company. And good luck to everybody out there. Tucker, I will see you on the next virtual meeting.
Sounds good, John.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.